Um, Let me stop the music and start with a very serious topic. Um, First of all, how are you?
I'm good. I got a new microphone. I can't express my elation enough, and I don't think people understand. But I feel like Barry White with this mic right now. I'm so happy. Only thing is, I'm trying to figure out my crazy hair with the headphones. So stay tuned for that. I'll have a better hairdo next week. How are you?
I'm well. Let us know down in the comments who has the better microphone because my microphone is going to give always, probably. Um, well, I guess we're starting off. I guess I'll just remove
Mwah.
that from the screen. I
Love
guess
you,
we're
SJ. Love
no,
you.
we
Can I just
don't.
say, I do love them. You know that I do. Can I just say, I love it's Saturday. Nobody has to be here. Let's be honest, including you and I. But I just want to thank all the people who have come in to the building, who hit the like, who have subscribed, who love to engage, and who like to engage in messiness from time to time. I love all of you guys, and thank you guys for being here. Honestly.
Hmm. Well, under the suggestion of a third party, I've decided to enjoy a glass of champagne.
Ooh, that sounds really expensive.
So we're going to see as time progresses if my behavior changes. I'm interested to know that. But more importantly, the very serious topic. Um, have you seen what the other two co-hosts of IDGAB have been doing on their live streams?
Sort of, but I feel like it's better if you just jump in head first. Just go into it no lube and tell me
Hmm.
what's going on.
Okay, I'm gonna play something for you. I want you to tell me if something about this seems strange. Is that or let's how about that? Let's start there.
Okay.
Okay. Let me put this on the screen.
Hello
First
to
of all,
everybody.
does this look familiar?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, okay. Yeah, this looks familiar. Let's play a little bit. Oops, I had it sped up all the way up.
Yeah, I was wondering why I was dancing like that. Okay.
Who are these people with this intro? Who are these people using? Who are these people
Ooh.
stealing my intro? This is what I don't understand. If we decide to split the podcast, I feel like we should decide to split the music. I'm about to edit the backdrop so it's just me and you on it. We're gonna chop them out of it. Are the
I,
height
I,
accurate? No, I'm 5'4".
I'm not necessarily consenting to the separation
Mm-hmm.
in our animated. I love that. I love the four of us. I love everything about it. But listen, if I were you, I would. To me, that is a compliment of the highest order. So I'm good. If I were you, I don't give advice, but if I did, I would take that as a compliment and run with it. Shout out to Themis for recognizing a clearly much better song for the introduction. Shout out to him. Shout out to you. Take the W. That's right. I say
Okay,
take the W
well,
and run.
sure, you can take it as a compliment. I'm going to take it as taking my intellectual property. IDGAB Saturday show now has beef with IDGAB Wednesday show. How about that?
IDGAB Petty. Petty is we are not um, one entity. We are two separate
Yes,
and
we are. We are
individual
one
entities.
entity. We are on one
I
accord.
I'm no, we're on two accords. I'm happy that they did it. I mean, listen, I would take the W and keep it moving. That's me.
Mm. Petty, did you mix it? No, it is not mixed. I put a shot of something in there. I'm not gonna say what, but it's brown. Um, so
Oh, you're gonna go
here's what
down
I
with the
believe.
brown. Oh,
Here's
that
where I
sounded
believe.
like
Hmm.
no, no, no. Brown liquor is no me gusta. It's not my friend.
Um, we can talk about liquors and which one of those Hold up. I'm tired of this guy. Yes, we are sick and tired of Themis. The way that he come in and just take somebody's song and use it on anyway. Yes, we're on one accord. We're all sick of this person. Um, I wanted to know
Who
your
are
thoughts on this quickly. I had a couple of icebreakers, just some messy stuff that I saw in my Instagram feed that I thought was really really important to go over. Um, are you familiar with this image?
I am not familiar intimately, but I mean, like cognitively,
Okay,
it looks like,
so
yeah.
this is this is Anthony Bass. He made a post that the flight attendant at United Airlines made his 22 week pregnant wife while traveling with another 5-year old and 2-year old get on her hands and knees to pick up popcorn. Um, it was a mess made by his youngest daughter. How do we feel about this so far before I continue?
What was wrong? So he wasn't on the flight?
Hmm?
He wasn't on the flight?
I don't know. Oh, wait, hold up. Let's see a little bit. Let me see if ooh, they're going in on this man. They are going in. I guess maybe he was there. It doesn't seem to say. I'm going
I
to wait. Is that important
is what important?
that he was there
Cleaning up
or not?
after. Of course it's important. If I am pregnant and on a plane, like me personally, if my kids make a mess and they're not old enough to clean it up, first of all, we're cleaning it up together, but I don't go anywhere, whether it's a plane. I don't care if I'm 12 months pregnant, 15 months pregnant. You clean a mess, you're going to clean that mess up. But if I'm like pregnant and otherwise, not capable, why wouldn't my man clean it up? What use of you are you to me? What is your utility as a human if you can't do that? What do you mean? They're kids. Yeah, kids make a mess, and kids have to understand that they're responsible for cleaning up their mess. That's kind of like the first thing that they learn in preschool. Oh, you played with the blocks? Okay, now we have to pick up all the blocks and put them back. Okay, well, if they're too young for that, or if they're on a plane, they're nervous, whatever it is. What is her husband doing?
Let's assume he's absent and she's there alone.
I I would pick it up. I don't, that's just not my thing. I can't go anywhere and let my kids make a mess. I can't, I'll lose it. They also would not do that. They would not do that. Even at a very young age, they understood. But
So,
um
so you don't believe we should be like, oh well, she's pregnant. The staff can pick it up this time, or do you think we should give pregnant women grace in this type of way in public?
I definitely think that they can help her. Um I just, I don't know. Every pregnant woman's condition is different. Some women get to 6, 7, 8 months, and they're not as mobile, they're not as agile. And let's be honest, you can't even touch your toes. You can't even see them, let alone touch them. So
Okay.
yeah,
So you
it
think
could
it's
be
like
difficult. Yeah,
so
the
you put it on.
accommodations could have been made to help her. But ultimately, yeah, accommodations could have been made.
Okay, but you're grading on a scale. Got it. Um,
Every life is one long scale. It doesn't end until you're chalk lined or until they close the casket. But at the end of the day, my sort of rule of thumb is if I go somewhere, I'm responsible for myself. That includes whatever mess that I make. And if I'm with my children, they're an extension of that. And if they make a mess, and even if they'll clean it, and if they miss even one piece of one kernel, I'll be there afterwards to clean it up. So
I see. I see. In my mind, the staff are going to clean up because she's pregnant. So,
yeah. But the
anywho,
dad, it seems like the dad was there. Some people are saying that the dad was there. I think that would be the
uh,
greater issue.
so
So
here's why I removed the dad from the situation. Do you know who he is?
no, he's the dad. That's the only thing that I know. That's the only thing that matters.
He is Anthony Bass. He's a baseball player,
Is
and
he in fact the father, or is he
he
just a
is the
baseball
father. He is
player?
the father. Yes, he's
Okay,
the
so
father.
yeah, that's his occupation is inconsequential.
He has no. He has
You
no. He has no legs.
right, that's a lie.
Okay, but do you see why you should let me finish what I was saying? Because you don't know what the end is about to be.
Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
he is a baseball player. His name is Anthony Bass, and what you have to understand is that he is carrying his entire team in his backpack. So he has back issues. To carry a team like that, I believe he can't bend down and pick it up. It's impossible. We can't.
Okay, so you've just described. Is he a black man, or just is he like Boricua? What kind of man is this?
Let me say the name. Anthony Bass. What race do you think he is? I'm genuinely curious. I'm not trying to be snarky.
Let's
Anthony
be
Bass.
like, he could be anything. I know a lot of black guys named Anthony. Last name's not indicative of all that much. I mean, we did have slave masters and that whole thing.
What is
So he's white. It sounds like he's saying It sounds like he's white. Um. So yeah, listen. You can swing that bat. Go ahead and swing the broom, okay, and clean up the mess. Clean up after your kids. Clean up after your wife. I don't really like. I don't care what you do for a living. You could be Jesus Christ himself. You will come down upon us and clean up the popcorn. You could be the president. I don't care. Clean up after your family. If your wife is otherwise incapable because of her condition, don't be a degenerate white pookie.
okay? So enough of that. That was just a quick icebreaker.
Oh,
We
someone
have
said he's not a someone said he's a pitcher? Then catch those kernels. You white bosted? How about that? Okay, go on.
ooh.
Sorry.
So Kayla Nicole Jones, you've probably never heard of her. She's like um a black influencer. She does music as well as frequently goes viral on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere where there's a young black audience, she's going viral. For her interesting tutorials, for example, on doing ponytail. Um, Oops, this is the wrong article. So I looked up who she was married to, but what was more important, I think, is that she got a divorce and she was facing some backlash for quote unquote dropping them kids off, right? I looked up who she's married to and well, who she's getting a divorce from because I had no idea she was married. But she's married to someone. This is completely unimportant to the story, by the way. She's married to someone named Lucky. I don't know what he does. Oh, they said he was an aspiring rapper. Um,
They're all aspiring rappers. Okay.
so she's married to and had two children with an aspiring rapper, divorced, and then upon divorcing, decided to drop them kids off. Um, let's watch a quick synopsis.
So, rapper and influencer Kayla Nicole Jones recently announced on her Instagram that she's getting a divorce. She posted a caption that read, "Really don't know how else to announce, but I owe y'all the update because my marriage was public. That's all. Moving on now. Talk to you later or not." And then she said, "No, it wasn't the kids. They lived happily with their father since our separation." And then she responded to a comment left by a fan where she addressed the reason for the divorce. She stated that the growth wasn't matching and causing many issues. "I was just done. Wanted more." A lot of people had mixed feelings about this. They felt like she abandoned her child by leaving the child with their father. However, nobody ever says this when it's the other way around. It's the dad doing this. And she admits that she's not in a good mental space and she recognizes that she can't show up as her best self for the child. So she's allowing the father to be a father. I don't see anything wrong with this, but y'all can let me know in the comments what y'all think.
Okay,
Oh, I love it. I love it. I
so
love it.
you are for leaving the children with the father, the aspiring rapper.
I am 100,000%. The fact that she could recognize that she wasn't in a position to parent her children to the best of her abilities, which anything outside of that is potential for harm, right? She can potentially cause harm to her children if she's not in a headspace to raise them and to love them and to show up for them the way that she knows she needs to. And the fact that she is leaning on, I'm not gonna say drop the kids off. No, you're leaning on your partner, you're leaning on your ex significant other and the father of your children, and you're entrusting them with your children. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that women should probably do that more, barring, there are no extenuating circumstances, barring the father is a good father, because it's not drop them kids off 2023. Like, some fathers don't father. They don't know the first thing. They don't know what they're doing. So obviously, if all variables have been considered and he can meet the expectations as a parent, oh my God, I love it. I think more women should do it. It's overwhelming. I would 100% do it. Like, okay. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. I'll be gone. Okay, 1, 2, 3 Cancun to get my mental health back in check. Like, it's the playoff. I'll be in Cancun. Okay.
Okay. So if you a partner says, I can't take care of my kids because of my mental health, so you have to, that's appropriate to you, at least.
I think yes. Yeah. I do think that 100%. And I know what you're about to do, but good luck to you.
Okay, you know what I'm about to do. I don't know what I'm about to do, but so you wouldn't call them like an absent parent?
Well, if they're absent, yeah, I'm sure that just because he is the primary caregiver, in the interim, that doesn't mean that she has no involvement. It doesn't mean she doesn't see them. It doesn't mean she's not financially contributing to their well-being. So absent is exactly as it's defined. Absent, right? Like, it's like Casper, nobody sees you, bandit or bandita, whatever you want to call yourself. But yeah, no, I mean, absent.
Okay. So for you, this isn't absence because the kids are.
We don't know what this is. We don't know, Betty. You don't have all the information, right? You're like Sway.
But in the way that you just articulated, it's not absent if the kid is like with a primary parent, the other parent has minimal involvement due to mental health.
Well, we don't know if it's minimal. We don't know what it is. Minimal, and what is minimal to you, anyways? Minimal to you might be different from what it is for me. What's minimal to you? Like, seeing them once a week, I would say that's minimal. That's
seeing
like the bare.
Seeing your children, I think 5 days a week, I would say it's the bare minimum.
Damn. I don't think that. I think that, especially if I'm going to go out on a limb because we don't have all the information, but I'm going to assert, or I'm going to assume rather, that at some point she plans on having her children come back to her and figuring out how to co-parent. I think that this is probably a short-term solution for a very challenging problem, but yeah, minimal is one day a week, and we don't know how often does she see the kids, Petty?
At least once a year, I assume.
Okay, so in other words, you don't know, you don't have the information, so we can't even assume she's an absent parent. That one parent has a primary custody doesn't mean that the other parent has no involvement or doesn't have a lot of involvement. That's just that's legal formality. So listen, you don't have all the information. Based on the information that we do have, I love the fact that she was able to recognize her limitations as a mother. And she said, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this. And I'm going to have to lean on you. And I'm sure that they're going to figure out something in the future, strike a balance, something that's better for everybody involved.
Okay. What do you think of her husband?
What do you mean? What do I think of him? I don't know him.
He's an aspiring rapper. Looks like
finding out that a Black man is an aspiring rapper, it's like.
Wait, now I'm before you slander, I'm an aspiring rapper. So
I found pictures of you. I found pictures of you, and hold on. I wanted to know whether or not you could pin them or like pull them up at some point, because I'm really impressed with the role that you got. I'm gonna send you the pictures. But listen, learning about Black men wanting to be like aspiring rappers, it's like the sun coming up. It's like waiting for the sun to come up. Like I'm not exactly gonna I'm not gonna bat my eyes at that. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. It's like, oh, you want another black man wants to be an aspiring rapper. Okay, that's it. It's like blinking.
It
It's like
doesn't sound
breathing.
like you have. It doesn't sound like you have faith in the Spotify community, in the SoundCloud community. It doesn't sound like you have faith in us. That's fine. I'm not going to force you to have faith. I don't think I have anything to comment on that situation aside from she's 22. He's between 19 to 20.
What?
He's between 19 to 21. Yeah, they
So she's
started
a year
early.
older?
Yeah, she's a year early or older than him, supposedly. His age has been reported to be a few things, but most consistently, he's been reported to be between 19 and 21 years old. She's 22 years old. She's very successful. Let me look up that net worth real quick.
Yeah, they're babies. So I would imagine in this scenario, and this is now I'm going to put my the professional purview. I'm going to look at it through this lens. I would imagine that he probably has a stronger support system behind him. He probably has more family to rally around him, and he probably has a tighter and stronger network. And that's probably why she deferred custody over to him. So shout out to him. That's, I mean, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I'm sure financially she's footing most of the bills at the end of the day because she's the breadwinner. Let's be honest. Aspiring rappers are aspiring for a reason. You ain't got it. You ain't either the talent or the bread. You ain't got it. So keep aspiring. Do your thing. Shout out to you. But yeah, I'm sure his parents or his family are really helping him and insulating those kids. I'm sure. You know how rappers are. You know how niggas be. Come on.
I'm sorry. I'm looking up their net worths because her net worth, she seems to be a millionaire, right at teeter-tottering at a millionaire. And his says 400 million. I don't feel like that's right.
Sounds so like he did that.
I am searching. It's a website that the person comes in and puts in their own net worth. But I'm searching because I'm almost certain she's the breadwinner. But yeah,
she is. We can move on. She definitely is.
But I was a little sad. Like, how do you're outgrowing someone, but they make $400 million and you're a millionaire? That doesn't sound right. So I don't think that's accurate. But what made me the saddest, I think, is the fact that they got married so young against, like, I remember when she was getting married, there was a lot of backlash because she was so young. And I feel like maybe it's because young people are rebellious. Maybe it's because young people tend to be like dumber. If I'm thinking about how I was when I was young versus how I am now, naive, not very experienced.
Sorry, listen, like, I'm sorry to younger people. I used to be young too. But you're stupid when you're in your early, like before your frontal lobe fully develops and begins to harden. You're a little bit yellow bus, short yellow bus. Especially in terms of the decisions that you make. You think that you're making the best decisions. You think you know everything. To the most unfortunate. Give it 10 years, boo. Give it 10 years. It's an extremely pejorative way of describing someone who is remedial. Remedial, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
I was remedial in my early 20s as well. Like shout out to me because I got over it, but it's an inevitability. It is what it is. Sorry.
It is what it is. I also didn't like that it was something specific. I can't recall it though. As I wait to recall that, I think this is very important to look at as well. This is my last icebreaker, and then we can get into what you wanted to talk about because you said you wanted to talk about the men's today. So maybe you can tell me something about them. But
and you don't want to, so that's I think that's more interesting than the topic itself. I think I might get into that, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, let's. But first, I think it's really important for men to talk to other men about men. I think that's really important. I think that men close their ears. Let me remove this quickly. I think that men close their ears when women are talking. I think it goes in one ear and out the other, and they don't really listen to it. Whereas when a man is saying the exact same words, but out of a male mouth, they take it and they internalize it and they apply it to their life. I think that's really important. Do you
But
agree?
do you understand that approach is extremely flawed? Well, I can recognize that men, as a general matter, don't respect women, their thoughts, their opinions, their personhood, or their humanity. Generally speaking, can you recognize that is a huge problem and even detrimental to men?
Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't.
Right. So
But
if you
it
you know
exists.
that means that you can do something about it, and that you can have better relationships with women, and probably and listen to them. Like, I'm just saying, if you can recognize what a problem is, you can probably go about remedying the problem. That's
So
my
you're
point.
speaking to me specifically,
I
or
am, because I know that you're one of those people. Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I talk to men. I tell them about themselves sometimes. Actually, the men are upset at me because of one of my TikToks. Maybe we'll look at it today, but they were really upset. I had something to say about black men on TikTok today, and nobody liked it, apparently, according to the comments. So maybe we could get into that. But like I said, I do agree it's a problem, but I do think that men shut their ears off when they're listening to women, and that's
Why?
something, huh?
Why? Why do you think that is? And
Well,
let's speak in specificities. I'm speaking specifically about Petty, Prince Petty, Petite.
why do I tune out women when they talk?
Yes,
I don't.
you do.
No, I don't.
Yikes! We had this conversation on the back end. Not to put you on blast, not to
Oh,
put you
oh,
on
oh,
front
oh.
page.
So
We've had this
I told
conversation.
Annalicia privately before. Thank you for putting me on blast, by the way.
I'm sorry. I don't want to put you on
That
front
I'm
street,
coming
but
from
like,
that I discovered in therapy. This was years ago, by the way. I discovered in therapy that I was listening to Themis on his channel talk about some stuff. I forgot what he said specifically. Actually, it's on that whiteboard back there, but you can't see it. It says discipline is a muscle that you must train. Themis said this in a conversation with a young black man who said he was being intimate with 12 women a year, one woman every month. And Themis asked something like, "Well, what are you looking for?" "Oh, I'm just going with the flow. When my wifey comes along, then I'm gonna wife her up. But until then, I'm out here having 12 women a year." So Themis said something along the lines of discipline is a muscle that you must train, and how it does, like, to say out loud, it does feel unlikely that you're going to just be out here deviant all your life. And then when the right woman comes along, you're just going to switch up, right?
I'm sorry. I thought I was the filibuster. I thought that I was the pontificator. I thought that I sort of belabored a point that sometimes
Why are you
um,
using words I can't understand? Get to the
you
point.
understand
Tell
all
it
of
to me
them.
like I'm in preschool.
No, but why? I'm sorry. I just want to know why you specifically don't listen to women, and you're talking to me about Themis. Like,
Okay, that's what, because Themis
don't bring me
told
to Russia and then China. Don't bring me all around the world. I'm just asking you a direct question, and you can just directly answer it. You're not me. Like, you don't have the
Themis,
carte blanche
okay,
to
Themis.
go on and on.
So, if you listen to the sentence that I just said, what Themis said to that young man, which is that discipline is a muscle that you must train, in regards to him living a deviant lifestyle and expecting to switch up once he has the right woman come along. This is called a build-up, by the way. I don't just go out here and raw dog. We use protection in these streets. Um, I took that and I actually wrote it.
Not according to the data. Sorry, go on.
I took that and I wrote it in my notes. And while writing it in my notes, I actually saw something that I wrote from a therapy session prior, where my therapist, she's a black woman, she said something nearly verbatim what Themis said. But when she said it, I was kind of dismissive of it. And I was like, nah, I can live my life how I want. I'm just going to switch up when I want to. No, how you don't know anything. You're just a therapist. But when it came to Themis saying it on stage, even though Themis doesn't have the credentials that a psychologist has, obviously he's credentialed in his field.
I know the what and the how. I'm asking you why your therapist, why her professional opinion, clinical opinion. I'm asking why you didn't listen to it.
I don't know, misogyny.
Oh,
We
okay.
didn't explore that. We didn't explore that in therapy. But what that made me realize is that I should take what my therapist is saying and treat it with credence and treat it in the same way where Themis can say something on his stream and I'll write it down, think about it, ponder and such. And I should do the same thing with my therapist, especially because she
Right.
has.
So let's get back to the misogyny, because again,
Mhm.
like I don't want to travel the world with you. I'm good. So you said misogyny. That seems like a cop out. I feel like you're articulate and you have the intellectual bandwidth to peel back what it is that you feel misogynistic towards women about. What do you feel like? What There's lots of different types of misogyny. What specifically motivates your inclination to just not listen or consider women?
That's like a really difficult thing to answer without a lot of introspect, which I haven't done. I'm going to say I think this exists in every man and probably a lot of women too, probably due in part to how you're raised, how you interact with your society, what your culture is like, what religion you follow. And if we're thinking about the culture in the Black community, if we're thinking about the culture in America, if we're thinking about the culture in Christianity, which is what I am, if we think about any culture that I've been raised up in, and all of them together, they are all, I feel like they're all built to not value women, at least outside of a physical sense. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree that misogyny is a part of the it's a part of the cultural zeitgeist, and it is a part of the socialization that we are all exposed to. I can agree with that. I'm just I think that it's more experiences that shaped you that have sort of led you to that realization or conclusion, which I'm interested in, frankly. But I know you probably wouldn't want to get into that on stream.
Well,
I just
I can't give you an experience that doesn't exist. That's my personal belief for why that's true. If you're raised in a society where women aren't valued outside of their body or anything like that, I don't believe you will value a woman's opinion.
But if you're raised by women and a sense of reverence is instilled in you at a young age, it's instilled in you and it's nurtured over time. I think that as you become an adult, you probably have a healthier sense of self and a healthier understanding and love of women in general.
Okay, well, let me ask, do you think men in America are raised in the way that you said, where they're surrounded pretty much by a culture that teaches them that women aren't valuable outside of their body? Do you think
I
that's how men are in America generally?
Not in America, no. Not even really in Canada. I think our parenting styles have changed over the last 50 years, and I think the changes in those parenting styles is where we're probably going to see that outcome. And it's not. It could even if it's only by a small margin. I still believe that the way that certainly me, because I know I'm much older than you, but the way that my parents raised me is diametrically opposed to the way that I would raise kids. And that and I guess my methods and the way in which I would go about socializing and conditioning and actively parenting, it would foster and cultivate a very healthy sense of self and reverence for all humans, but particularly women, because you come from a woman. What do you mean? Like, I'm sorry, your existence is predicated on women, and you somehow fail to have respect for that. You slap
Even
yourself with both
even what you
hands.
just said there, it's a woman who what you just said. There's pretty much a woman has birthed you. How can you disrespect a woman who's birthed you, right? But even in that sense, it feels like the value of a woman that you're describing to me is in her womb. again, it feels like even in the way you describe the woman, her value lies in her body.
That's right, but that's part of her value. And that's not part of, it's part of the value of just in terms of humanity and the human condition. We're not relegated to the value of our wombs. It's one part of what makes us women. It's one part of what gives us a power and energy that kind of makes us our own distinct entities in a way. That's
Okay.
part of it. But I don't think that people
maybe-
are one. Men are not one thing. We're not. We don't.
I'm not disagreeing.
Superimpose women into one box, into one. I'm
So
not
I'm
into
not
that.
disagreeing with. I'm not disagreeing in what a woman's value lies in. I don't believe that a woman is her value is relegated to her body. What I'm talking about now is how I believe most men, well, boys at that point, are socialized when they're growing up by their parents, by their friends at school, people in the community, society, television, whatever influence they have. I believe all of that influence is generally telling young boys that a woman's value is relegated to her body. Do you agree? Disagree?
Do you think that women are also? Do you think that women feel that way as? Can you hear me?
It's boring a little bit.
Hello. People, can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's just boring a little bit. That's all.
Petty, can you hear me?
Yes.
I thought you were borging. Oh my god.
Oh, well, the chat needs to let us know which one of us is boring, because I might go up and talk to
Okay.
Comcast about this Wi-Fi. We might have to have a conversation.
You have that like the nutty professor laugh. You laugh exactly like Nutty Professor. You guys know how Nutty Professor laughs?
What is the nutty
Okay,
professor?
that's Petty.
What is that? Does he like nut on
That's
people, or how
Eddie.
does he-
Eddie Murphy. Google it right now.
They
I
said
can't
you're-
even do the laugh, but that
they
is like
said-
your real. That's your baseline. That's your real laugh. That's so funny.
They said you're 10 seconds behind.
Yeah, I think it's me. I think I should go out and come back in. Borging. So maybe I should come out and go back in. What do you think? No?
Yeah. Come out and go back in.
Yeah,
Try that.
I'm gonna go out and come back in.
While you do that, I'll entertain the audience with a dance. Waiting on you to leave. I'm not gonna dance in front of you. Come on now.
Oh God.
Okay. Annalicia has borged out. Now we can actually get to the topic that I wanted to get to, that Annalicia said I couldn't do. But because she's gone now, I can definitely do it, and she will probably not be back in time to stop me. So here's something that I thought was important for men and boys to see. It is a man talking about men, and he's explaining it. My bad, I had to kick Annalicia from the studio. You're gonna get it right or you're gonna get out. He's explaining some stuff about men to men, so let's watch.
I thought that perhaps I had dumbed it down to the dumbest and easiest level, but now we are going to do misogynoir for cavemen. Black have oppression. Women have oppression. Black women have oppression. Unique to black women. Not simply black oppression or woman oppression. New black woman oppression. Black man have unique oppression. Black woman have unique oppression.
I see that you're back. We were just chilling here waiting for you and doing nothing else.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, where were we?
I believe that
it sounds like an in. Can you guys hear me now?
nope.
Oh no, I'm so
I can hear you, but it's like still borgy. Hello. Let's talk about presentation. That's what I want to talk about today. Let's scrap the topic. Let's talk about presentation, because I believe presentation matters.
Okay, just keep playing the TikTok.
She said from 30 seconds behind. Presentation matters. This is
Keep
why
playing it. I'm here.
Okay, she's here.
I thought that perhaps I had dumbed it down to the dumbest and easiest level, but now we are going to do misogynoir for cavemen. Black
You
have
do.
oppression. Women have oppression. Black women have oppression. Unique to black women. Not simply black oppression or woman oppression. New black woman oppression. Black man have unique oppression. Black woman
This is
have unique
bad.
oppression.
This
Both
is really
under white
bad.
oppression. White oppression like Swiss Army knife. Many tools. Many black men try to put away racism, but keep patriarchy. Many black women point out, whole tool fucked, point out patriarchy hurt black woman. Black man bitch about accountability. Black man very unwilling to part with patriarchy. White woman buddy up for convenience. White man stay winning. Black man very unwilling to say patriarchy bad. Black man want power low key like white man from patriarchy. Big problem for black man cause it don't work that way. Anytime black women point this out, black man get very angry. Black man say, guess we blame black man now. Black man still won't let go of patriarchy. Black man, black woman have other dynamics that if me no make a side for people get pedantic. However, me point is, in game should not be patriarchy go to black man. In game should be throwing out Swiss Army knife. If me hear one more comment say take accountability black woman, me drop boulder on head.
Wow. Here I was about to give up the whiteboard, but this gave me faith and hope in a way that I didn't have before. Maybe I can get through to the men if I just actually scrap that. Let's talk about presentation again. Presentation is important. Why? Why is presentation important? And Alicia, why is presentation important?
I don't know. Presentation in terms of what?
Presentation is important because stability is important. Consistency is important. Dependability is important. You know what's not stable? A faulty internet
My
connection.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
Mm.
When can I catch your stand up? You're a genius. You know that? You're hilarious.
My stand up, I went to do stand up in person and I bummed. I'm never going again. Never.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what would make you want to go and do that, but I would like you to do me a favor because
Mhm.
guys, literally found Petty.
Mhm.
I guess this must have been your first like acting gig.
Mhm.
Which, and like considering the show, I'm
Mm.
like shocked and impressed.
Oh,
But if you could just, I'm gonna send it to your phone. If you could
please,
just
please.
I think this is you as Thug One, I believe, in the
Here,
background.
send it to my Instagram. Let's put it on the
You're
screen.
wielding a baseball bat, and I just was like considering the show, I'm shocked. Like I'm so impressed by you. It's like not even funny. I can't send it to Instagram. I temporarily deleted it. I sent it to your phone. So do with that.
Well, we'll just never see it because I have no idea how.
Oh, don't, you know what? I'm going to try to show it from my end then, because guys, like this is Petty as Thug One in, let's see if you guys can see it. Oh, you sent it to yourself. Okay, he's going to pull it up, guys. This is Petty as Thug One in like one of the greatest shows of all time. And I'm really impressed. So, Petty, could you put it up, please? So we have Petty with the do-rag and the little braids at the back. He was Thug One. I'm really impressed. And I actually
Wait,
think you
I'm
look
confused.
better in a do-rag.
I'm
to be
confused. Do
honest.
you actually think that's me? Do you think all black people look the same?
That's clearly you. For your first acting gig, even as Thug One, to be on The Wire is beyond impressive. Like I'm beyond impressive. I'm talking to someone who was on The Wire. That's like That's crazy. Can you go to the other pictures? I feel like the other pictures really captured your acting sort of abilities. Like you were really giving thug. You're giving thug. It was like so good. You're not going to show the other pictures? Wow.
The shaker. The thug shaker, rump shaker.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. You like whoever you were talking to, I know that you were really intimidating them because that's like that. The guy in the background, guys, like kind of looking sideways. That's threatening. That's a threatening look. I feel like you could have gone much further with the acting. Like I don't know what happened. Like I'm afraid. I'm on the other end. Like this is remote and it's a picture taken from years ago, and I'm intimidated by the look on your face. Like even the do rag alone, the little like stump braid that you have coming up the do rag, like you captured it. It's giving Thug One, like I've never seen. I'm just happy for you.
Why did you send this picture to me? What does this mean?
This means that you are Thug One and Thug One is you. And I think that you should pick up your acting bag and see what else is in it. Because
Are you trying to say that all black men are thugs and look the same?
No, I'm trying to say that you did a good job on The Wire as Thug One, and I'm intimidated by the expression on your face.
Wait, but that's not me in the picture.
That is you. Go to the I sent you 4. Go to all of them. Maybe you don't
So
remember.
You do think all black? I'm only going through them because there's only one more.
Yeah, just go through it. I don't want people to think that I'm crazy because that's clearly petty. Like put a 1 if you think that's oh my gosh. Like yeah, I that's petty. Really?
And there I am. How am I in the same picture 4 times?
Look at the bat in your hand. Like what were you going to do with that in the scene?
Wait,
what was
the
that?
bat? So wait, hold up. Now I'm confused. The bat is in this person's hand back here. So this is the
That's
person.
you. That's you. That's who
not
I'm saying you are.
In the gray shirt.
You know, you are not the main. You are the background. You are Thug One. He actually has a reoccurring appearance on the show. He's one of the main characters. I'm talking about the bat yielding do cap. So yeah, that's you. Like I can see it, and it's giving. It's giving Thug One. You know what I'm saying? And
okay, I look like So when you look at me, you see a thug with a baseball bat looking menacingly.
Well, now I'm going to just because I pulled up your acting credit, like some of your acting credits. I don't know if that's an acting credit that you have on like your IMDb or whatever that thing is. But it gave what it needed to give. So it is what it is.
So let's talk about it. So when you look at me right now, you see Thug One. Why did you freeze at this time? This is not the time to freeze. I have questions. Can you hear me? Are you here with us? Yeah,
I'm here. I'm just going to turn my camera off because I feel like, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So when you look at me, you see Thug One. You see a 6 foot tall, 250 pound black man with a baseball bat, and he's looking menacingly, and he's about to attack you. Like scary looking.
The joke's on you because you're not 6 feet tall. So
no, I'm talking about
the joke's on you. You're not intimidating to me.
In that photo, you said that photo looks like me. Let me put it back on the screen. So the man in the background with the baseball.
Wait, so that's not you?
So again, when you see
that's
me,
not you.
When you see me, what you see is a 6 foot tall black man, 250 pounds. He has a baseball bat. He's wearing a do-rag.
Where are you getting like the weight and the height? You're a little bit. I'm making
a guess based on if you look at the building in the background in the grass, there's a car behind him. It looks like barely you can.
It's not to scale. It's not to scale. I'm sorry to tell you. It's the camera angle it's going upwards, right? Like so the camera is sort of down and it's pointing upward to give the appearance that you're 6 feet. And I don't think of any of that when I see you. Honestly, I think that you're a good actor, and I think you can turn on your acting skills, and you turn them on, turn them
I
off.
see.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I don't think this would be adultification because I'm grown, like I'm 17 now. Can't nobody call me a child no more. But we've heard about adultification bias, right? Where there's a type of prejudice where children of minority groups, especially Black children, are treated more maturely. Um, where like a 6-year-old Black boy, for example, can be playing in the yard and people will be like, this is clearly the 6 foot tall suspect who has a gun. Do you think that a form of that is happening here? Even though I'm not a
Oh,
child.
absolutely not.
So you don't see the
Well, if
same
you're not a
person
child, then
when you look at me and him.
wait a minute. I'm sorry. If you're not a child, and you're not 17 years old either, like, stop being delusional. But if you're not a child, why are you asking me to draw parallels between a situation
Well, again,
between
I
you
said
and a
I
child?
only
The
I only
child being in order. Hold on, let me finish. Because in order for adultification to take place, you have to be a child. There are no parallels. I'm talking about an adult, and you're
yes,
talking
yes,
about a
yes.
6-year-old.
So again, what I said before, I don't feel like this would be adultification bias, but at least in the way I described it, where it's kind of a racial prejudice where children of minority groups, we could take out children, where people of minority groups, but usually Black people, are treated like as fitting a stereotype. Do you think that's what this is?
When you say this, are you talking about me pulling up your acting pictures?
Yeah, me and this person are the same, right? I'm a 6 foot tall, 250-pound Black man with a baseball bat. He
He's
has on
not.
a
He's
do-rag. He
not.
looks like a menace. He's looked like he's ready
That's.
to
I'm
attack.
sorry. That's just good acting on your part, mind you. That's just good acting on your part. So the answer to your question, whatever it was, is no. It's just a
Okay.
good picture.
Well,
And yeah,
okay. Well, I won't
you did a
prod
good
that.
job. Congratulations.
I won't prod that anymore. But did you see the entire video of the do we need to watch it again? The patriarchy dumbed down pretty much that the man made for other men.
No, I think that I was in and out. I didn't see that at all.
I can play it one more time. Are you here with
Yeah,
us?
go ahead.
Okay.
Je suis ici, present.
I thought that perhaps I had dumbed it down to the easiest level, but now we are going to do misogynoir for cavemen. Black have oppression. Women have oppression. Black women have oppression. Unique to Black women. Not simply Black oppression or woman oppression. New Black woman oppression. Black man have unique oppression. Black woman have unique oppression. Both under white oppression. White oppression like Swiss Army knife. Many tools. Many Black men try to put away racism, but keep patriarchy. Many Black women point out, whole tool fucked, point out patriarchy hurt Black women. Black man bitch about accountability. Black man very unwilling to part with patriarchy. White woman buddy up for convenience. White man stay winning. Black man very unwilling to say patriarchy bad. Black man want power low key like white man from patriarchy. Big problem for Black man cause it don't work that way. Anytime Black women point this out, Black man get very angry. Black man say, guess we blame Black man now. Black man still won't let go of patriarchy. Black man, Black woman have other dynamics that if me no make a side for, people get pedantic. However, me point is, in-game should not be patriarchy go to Black man. In-game should be throwing out Swiss Army knife. If me hear one more comment say take accountability Black woman, me drop boulder on head.
Okay. That was the explanation. This was after our conversation about selective hearing, where men don't listen to women but they listen to other men. I feel like that's something important for men to look at, for men to digest, and I think it has to come from a man, and it has to come like that, very remedial.
I love that. They should play that in schools.
Not they should
Yeah,
play that in school.
they
So
should.
you wanted to discuss selective hearing, I guess, where men don't listen to women.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that I mean I don't how do you divorce yourself from it? I don't know how you would fundamentally divorce yourself from it and get to a place where you rather than having what seems to me a superficial respect and a superficial love and a uh, um, very vacuous type of reverence for women, how do you divorce yourself from the misogyny that is ultimately a part of your identity? It sounds like.
Um, I think specifically when it comes to how we treat women, we use the example of selective hearing, but just how we treat women generally. I think I look at women how I look at men, if that makes sense. It doesn't sound like it makes sense based on your facial expressions, but when I think about of being friends with women, right? Since this seems to be a prevalent conversation on the internet, let's use that for an example. You'll hear commonly that men can't have women friends because they're going to want to have sex with each other, or because she's going to friend zone you and you're going to be doing all this boyfriend labor while she's not giving you girlfriend benefits or something like that. But for something like that to exist, you have to look at women as less than human, right? If you're thinking of, well, if I'm thinking of my guy friends, I don't get like a sexual or romantic benefit from my guy friends. They're just not into that. They're not homosexuals. They're not heteroflexible. They don't believe it's okay for the homies to give each other head. They think that's gay. So I get nothing from them, right? All I get is their personhood. I have to have some form of respect for them, for their character, for their maybe career. And I started thinking about all of the reasons that I'm friends with men. And the reasons have to do with us sharing similar values, us being in similar career fields. Some of these people are really beneficial to my life as far as the type of advice that they can give me, being very specific to my career field. I'm a janitor, of course. What's the best way to sweep and mop? Should I mop back and forth in a circle? What's the best way to get up this dust? So when I started looking at women like that, in terms of not like a woman's purpose in my life is for like a relationship or for marriage, um, but rather, okay, women are just like men. They have values, they have ideas, and there can be women who share similar interests with me. There can be women who are also in an online space and like to talk about the issues that I like to talk about. There are women who work in my career field. Pretty much the same way I would treat a man, I treat a woman. I don't think that was a good explanation, but it was an explanation. So
Okay, so you recognize their humanity, which seems like the most basic level of understanding. I feel like, I mean, we've been here for
yeah,
a really
yeah,
long time.
yeah. But did you see the
Yeah.
the video we just watched where the man broke it down so that black men could understand why they shouldn't just say take accountability whenever he brings up anything to do with the black community? It was really remedial. He literally wrote it on a whiteboard. But have you seen the literacy rates in the community? Even outside of the community, I'm pretty sure men tend to be less educated, less literate than women, seem to be learning slower, have more learning disabilities, it looks like. So when you say this is
Right. That's why I said
remedial,
that he
I
should
don't,
teach it that
yeah,
way. Yeah.
yeah. So when you say it's remedial, I don't disagree, but
Yeah, that should be taught to black boys in school that way.
they're not going to put that whiteboard up there. They're just not. So how about this?
You don't like the vernacular used?
I don't think they're going to put like he was speaking like a caveman. I don't think they would put that in schools. I feel like you're frozen. I don't know if we're talking to each other or if you're responding to something I said for a second.
I But do you think that my characterization?
Do I think what?
Yeah, it's not going to work. Do you think the characterization of Black men being remedial, do you think that it's, you agreed with me, but are you saying that you don't agree with the vernacular being used?
Yeah, I think depending on the vernacular you use, you could either be accepted by society, your theories, I guess, could be accepted by society, or they could be rejected. Like the idea of me, if I go to a school board, because you're saying we should pitch this in school,
Society or men?
society broadly. Like I believe women also partake in patriarchy.
No. I didn't say. Wait, what? Okay. Okay, I'm like,
Let's talk again.
they definitely do. Okay, I'm
So-
like way behind.
Yeah,
I'm
way behind. Let's talk again about
way
present.
behind.
Let's talk about internet. Can everybody in the comments let me know who they're using for internet? Because something has to change.
Like,
something-
but you know what? Like, not all of us got a role as Thug One on The Wire. So, like, some of us have honest employment, right? You know, like 9 to 5s. We're not being flown to where did you go for that? Baltimore?
I'm a mobile
Baltimore?
janitor. I am a mobile janitor. The only reason I fly for
You're
work.
you're a working actor, and that pays. So
Spectrum, Verizon, Comcast, Xfinity. I'm gonna go with Xfinity and maybe Verizon. So just let that be what.
Fido, shut the hell up.
But you said that okay, this could be.
We
taught in
don't have any of that. We don't have Verizon. We don't have any of that in Canada. Just so you guys understand. But yeah, shout out to Fido and Telus and Rogers. What I'm not saying that. So when I'm saying, I'm being facetious, but I think that patriarchy should be taught at the institutional, on an institutional level. So at some like in some formal education program or class, I do believe that patriarchy does need to be understood with more sort of like more acuity, because I feel like men specifically feel like if patriarchy sucks, men sucks, or if patriarchy sucks, then how are they going to get ahead in life? How are they going to get all the things that, how are they going to live up to the false premise that patriarchy is predicated on? So, yeah, I think that young boys should be taught what patriarchy is. And I think that would help to mitigate some of the internal angst and the internal resentment, and general distaste and sort of like disrespect that they have for women.
Do you think this should be taught at the home or in the school?
Both. I think anything that should be taught generally should be taught at home and at school. I understand that kids spend a lot of time at school. Depending on how much time you have as a parent, depending on how active or involved you are, you also have a responsibility to teach your child what awaits them in terms of societal norms, cultural norms, or deviations.
Okay, so we agree.
Paradigms.
We agree. So,
all right.
Do you think it's feasible at home? I can understand it being taught. I can understand this being taught widespread. In school, do you think it's feasible? I'm thinking about what I learned in school as far as, for example, Black and white relations. For example, right, where we learn about Martin Luther King, we learn about gaining the right to vote, we learn about gaining equal rights, but past a remedial conversation, even in like high school, college, past a remedial conversation, it doesn't feel like a conversation is really being had. Now, there are specific courses in college I know you can take regarding Black history, Black feminist classes and stuff like that. But in like mainstream school K through 12, I don't know that they would teach it. The closest thing I've seen trying to be pushed was critical race theory. My understanding of critical race theory is there's racial bias that's in Western society, historically and present today. This can be in like legal institutions, social institutions, um, and it's designed to benefit white people and disadvantage Black people. Now, to me, this seems like something that is true. There seems to be statistical evidence to support this. Black people, there's a bias against Black people in the job hiring process, in the legal system, in wherever in life, there seems to be a bias. So this is like an objective fact, right? So when it's presented to the school board, it feels like it's being completely rejected. Um, Women's suffrage, I don't know if there's like a critical women there, I don't know. But women's suffrage again is like, we learned the bare minimum in school. I assume, just like with critical race theory, if there were a push to get children to understand how the patriarchy how the patriarchy acts within their everyday life, how it oppresses women. Well, I don't know if oppress is the word I would use because that feels like a strong word, but how it disadvantages women.
That is the word. That is the word. That word is apt, but go ahead.
How it disadvantages women in everyday life, how it benefits men, how these systems are upheld. I don't know that something like that would make it past the drawing board. Why? I think the patriarchy is going to try to protect itself. So yeah, you're gonna need to tell me how we're gonna get it in school now. Go ahead.
I don't have like a, when I say that this is something that should be taught in schools, I'm speaking at the theoretical. I'm looking at it theoretically speaking. I think that patriarchy should be taught in school with children at a young age, in the same way that I feel that like personality disorders and toxic relationships, toxic people, I think that things like that should also be taught to children, in the same way that I feel that understanding your credit score, understanding the importance of good credit, how to get it, how to maintain it, and once you've got there, what position you can put yourself in with
Wait,
a good credit score.
They teach all that in school?
No, I'm saying that I think that patriarchy should be taught in schools in the same way, in the same vein that I feel that other things should be taught in school.
Okay.
I think I'm saying these things in theory, I think it would make for a better understanding of men and women, boys and girls, of some of the systemic and societal pressures that we have to inevitably encounter after we graduate, and when we're out of school, and when we're just in interpersonal and romantic relationships. I think that all of these things should be taught in school formally and institutionally. Do I know how something like that can be implemented or legislated? Absolutely not. I have no, I mean, I've been in schools where I've implemented different programming and seminars and things like that. But for it to be a part of the curriculum is something different. And that requires a lot more like heavy lifting. And I think that you would probably have to go through some red tape, but that's just my opinion. I think that those things should be taught. I think children should understand how to navigate in the world outside of, the academic institutions. But that's just my opinion.
I guess I would have to think about, I don't disagree, by the way. I guess I would have to think about why schools exist. And should we move to a format where schools, well, I think school exists to develop a child into someone who's able to live morally and productively in our society, right? I guess we would change Well, we wouldn't have to change it. Okay, let me configure my thoughts. The purpose of school isn't just to learn math, science, English, and all this, right? Do you agree?
Yeah, there's a social component to education. There's an emotional component to education. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So aside from a base knowledge of like math, science, English, and stuff, it's also about creating someone who's able to navigate in society morally
Right.
and
Who
productive.
understands? Do you say morally?
Let's just say productively. We don't have to say morally because
Yeah. Well, right. It sort of cultivates young minds to learn to take like academic instruction. Um I think instruction and some form of discipline in general, I think is part of what academia or the school system is sort of meant to provide generally.
so currently to be productive, if we believe that school exists mainly to for you to be productive in society, currently to be productive, you don't necessarily need to know about race relations. You don't necessarily need to know about gender relations. You don't necessarily need to know about the moral and ethic part, actually. So we would be reframing school as something where we do teach. We teach, it would be more about understanding the society we live in as opposed to being productive in that society.
Understanding the society you live in makes you a more productive member of society. If you understand how something works, you're more equipped to engage in it. You have the
I don't
tools that you
know.
need to properly engage in it, and then you can be more successful, I think. Yeah.
Okay, I'll agree with productive, but as far as engaging with society, I don't know. My uneducated friends seem really happy. They seem very like fulfilled. My educated friends are all out here sad. Um, they are like cogs in the machine, and they are aware. So I don't know about that.
Like whether you have gone to school or not, everyone's going to be a cog in the wheel. Like if you work and you have a 9 to 5, you're a cog in the wheel. Like
I don't disagree, but being aware that you're a wheel, that you're a cog in the machine.
yeah, I mean, there's something to the old adage of ignorance is bliss, right? I'm going to be honest with you, and this is something my therapist said.
Mhm.
Stupider people are people who like maybe below average intelligence, or um maybe just on the precipice, I don't know, of average and below. Um Unintelligent people, this sounds so bad, are generally happier. They're generally happier. So yeah, there's definitely some truth to that. People who kind of, but there's something to be said about that, because I read a study, and my therapist also told me that people who have experienced depression, they have a more realistic outlook of life, and they have a more like a better sense of self, a stronger sense of self, versus people who don't like believe in depression or
So
who have never
we need to make
experienced
sure we're
depression.
all we need to make sure we're all donating in the chat so we can get Annalicia some better internet. We can get her some better Wi-Fi. 100% of the funds will go to Annalicia's pocketbook so that something can shake, because something needs to shake. Are you back with us?
Listen, I'm back. But there's something to be said about your I guess, degree of intelligence and how happy you are in life, or how happy you are with yourself. And for people who are not that, who are kind of like, oh, I don't know the answer, and I don't want to know the answer, and I don't care about what the answer is, and I'm happy not knowing. There's something to be said about that sort of like psychological schism that kind of determines who's going to be happier, and who's sort of miserable, knowing what life is, versus the person who's a little bit dumb.
Okay. With that being said, as we close out today, I'm going.
Wait, so let's open the panel, because there are some men that are
No,
like, yeah. So I just want to know, because there are a lot of men in the comment
Wait,
section who
you didn't hear
are.
what I? Did you hear what I said?
No, I don't. I heard you, but I didn't understand you.
Why you just said
But
yeah and kept going? Why you didn't?
because I'm ignoring you. I'm actively ignoring you. Listen, there are men in the comment section who are like, I think they're legitimately asking how is patriarchy bad, or how does the average man benefit from patriarchy? And I think it would be a good less like, for me at least, I think that there's a lot for me to learn, and maybe there's a lot for those individuals to learn if they were to come up here and have a conversation, because I'm sure that between you and I, we could help them understand what the benefits of patriarchy is for the average man, and frankly the average woman, right? So
Okay, I'll quickly put the link just in case. It looks like someone wanted to ask how does. Let me find the comment.
he literally asked, he's like, how is patriarchy bad? And I appreciate the honesty in the question. Like, most men will say patriarchy is good, and they don't really know what.
That was from a
Goodness.
commenter who I watched the last stream Themis did, and the commenter I think was like a troll. So he can come up and let us know. Otherwise, I'm gonna I just timed him out, so I don't like twerking in the chat. Not from men. That feels weird, but it's up to. I mean, I think it's good that he's breaking out of the heteronormative society, right? Because men can twerk. So I will retract that comment. Men can twerk in the comments. I apologize. That was rude of me and very heteronormative, but not him specifically. But he can click that link and come up here if he has some questions about the patriarchy.
I think that there's a learning lesson here. There's something to be learned on, I think, everyone's part, because for me, in my mind, and this is at my big age, my grown self, I always think to myself, like, within reason, the knowledge that I've acquired and accumulated over time, most people kind of understand life in the same or similar fashion. Like, most people understand that patriarchy exists, and most people understand that, like, adults. When I say people, I mean like adults, big grown people. And most people have an understanding that patriarchy is detrimental to both men and women. So unless he's a very young man, like early 20s, late teens, something like that, I'm really curious as to what his thoughts are about patriarchy as conceptually and theoretically. I'm curious.
Yeah, I would be really interested to know as well. Howdy, sir. You had some questions about.
Hello.
You wanted to tell us your thoughts on.
Hi, Hood Mystic. How are you? I know I'm going to be behind, but just pretend I'm not. Okay. Hi, how are you? You're on mute.
Going once. Going twice.
Okay, he unmuted it. Calm down. Putin. My God.
I still hear nothing. I don't know if you hear anything.
Hood Mystic, can you hear us? We can't hear you. Maybe you go out and come back in. God knows I've been having problems my damn self. So.
All right. Yeah. Microphone issues.
So let's give it 5 minutes. Let him go out and come back in.
Oh, I just have all the time in the world, huh?
You have 5 minutes.
I'm gonna give Hood Mystic 30 seconds because we just gave him like a minute and a half. Now I just feel like you should have your equipment ready to go when you hit the link. Why are these people speeding through my nice neighborhood? I don't like that.
Are you in New Jersey, or are you in New York, or are you?
No, I'm going back to New York next week for some janitoring, some custodas,
'Cause
doing some custology. I don't know what
I
they call
wouldn't
it.
be like, no, they don't call it that, but I love your malapropisms and your like mispronunciations. I love them.
Anna got a new mic. Let's give Anna some
I
praise.
did get a new mic.
Like actually,
No.
and here,
Listen, I told you guys that this is all I needed, so
feminine, fit, and friendly today.
we're good.
Hmm. Hmm.
You
Well,
because I can hear everything that you're saying. I could hear everything that you're saying, every pause, every like I don't know. It's like a colorblind person being able to see color for the first time. It's like I feel like I'm in Aladdin. It's a whole new world. I can hear everything. You guys can hear me. We're good to go. I don't have to
wait.
scream. I
Let
don't have
me
to interject.
before we close out. Here's Paul. Paul had some words. I'm gonna give Paul like 1 minute. Welcome.
Hey,
Hi, hi, Paul.
I
How
was
are you?
just, I'm doing pretty good. How y'all doing?
Internet is shaking it rough, but other than that, all is well.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I was just wondering, I could understand how patriarchy is not that good for women, but I don't see how isn't it doesn't help like the men. How is it, detrimental to both of us?
Mm, I think a good example, just within this same conversation we had, not to leave it. Well, you can if you want to, Anna. But earlier when we were talking about the fact that when I spoke with my therapist, her words reach my ear and go out of the other ear, even though she has the credentials to be talking to me about anything to do with psychology and behavior. She's a doctor, she's well educated, and she's within the scope of her field. If anyone's word should be valuable to me, it's hers, but it went in one ear and out the other. When I heard Themis say the same thing, he doesn't have like the credentials. He doesn't have, in this field specifically, he doesn't have the necessary education or credentials for me to treat his word with that much value, but I do. I believe this is something that happens in society generally in regards to men listening to women versus men listening to other men.
I
So
think that's
your word being valued, I think,
Can
is
I
just
can I can I can I also add something to that, Paul? Because I know
yeah.
you're probably not going to be up here for a very long time. But for me, when I think of patriarchy and how or why it's detrimental to men, I look at it through an emotional and psychosocial emotional lens, because patriarchy has constructed an image and an identity in men that they have to live up to. They have to, they're not allowed to cry. They're not allowed to really engage with any of their emotions outside of anger, outside of abject violence or rage. Anything else is feminine. Communication, even styles of communication, most men are not able to engage in because they've been socialized to understand that it's not considered male. It's not considered, something that you do in manhood to communicate openly and honestly, to be in tune with your feelings and your most fundamental and true inner selves. I think that that is more detrimental to men than anything else. Because essentially what patriarchy does is it says that this is the only way in which you can perform manhood, and the only way in which you can perform manhood cuts out your humanity. It's completely devoid of love, empathy, compassion, understanding, and really sort of cultivating the importance of open and honest communication. And so when you're dealing, what a good way to say it is, when you can feel pain, you know that you're alive. But when you can feel someone else's pain, you're human. I think that that patriarchy has largely taken that away from men, whether they are engaging in it directly, whether they are benefiting from it in other ways. I think that taking away your humanity has fractured your relationships with women, with your children, with your family. I think that this has a generational impact, and I think that this creates a really messed up sort of dichotomy within yourself and your own identity, and it makes it even more difficult to navigate or to have a strong sense of self, insofar as understanding who you are, not just as a man, but as a human. Because I think patriarchy sort of sets you up to believe that manhood means, a lack of humanity. And I think that that is the most important piece. I think that that's why men are more depressed than ever. I think that that's why men are, generally speaking, don't have good relationships, even with other men. It's the denial of humanity. And that is the patriarchy, my friend.
Nah, I totally agree. I could admit that I suffered from some of that. But I want to talk to Petty with his example, because there may be a more sense of familiarity that you have with Themis and his experience
Oh
of
no,
being a positive role model.
years ago. This was like not any time recent. So I had like no connection with Themis at all. I was just discovering his channel pretty much. So it's not like I understand. Well, you can finish, but I felt like you were gonna say, "Oh, I'm around Themis. He's like a fellow content creator and friend, so obviously I'm going to respect his word." But no, back then I had no idea who he was at all, aside from coming up in my feed a time or two.
Oh, okay. But also to be misogynistic, it's like when it comes to listening to women and men, it's like I kind of could have a bias that that women have learned their logistics from men when it comes to the out of the household things, like as far as work, career. But when it comes to relationship, you would be biased in a woman because women know how they like to be treated. So I think it varies. But when it comes to specifically like STEM degrees, I would think that a woman has learned from a man. So it's more like when I think of a woman, it's more of a secondary knowledge.
So
I don't.
you're the human personification of patriarchal thought.
Right.
The idea that women are learning through men, and therefore their knowledge should be received as secondary knowledge or secondary information. That's misogynistic. The idea that and you're a Black man, so that means you're plugged in, you're in the Black community. So we're going to be honest. The STEM degrees are largely being acquired by Black women. I'm pretty sure the last time I looked at any of the data. But even if what you're saying is true, even if most STEM degrees, it sounds like you're saying sciences, math and sciences, sort of the advent of those things come from men. It sounds like you're saying, basically.
Yes, but it's not. I just use STEM as an example. It could also be a therapist. It could also be like with Petty's therapist. Yeah.
Therapy is I don't think that's STEM, but with your let's use your logic, right? The way that you that men, I don't want to just point my finger at you, but let's use that sort of rationalization of why men are misogynistic. Black men get their information and they get everything from white men, right? in some parts they get their identity, they get their knowledge, their information, their instruction, they get all of these things from white men. So therefore it's justifiable for white people to see their thoughts and their ideas and their humanity as secondary. Do you understand? So
Right,
do you see
right.
that in
I
the
totally
same
agree.
way that, right? So in the same way that that men look at women, and and you know, it sounds like you're almost justifying it because one came before the other, then you would also have to justify Jim Crow, and you would also have to justify slavery, and you would also have to justify subjugation and oppression, and you would also have to justify being discriminated against. So if you're for one, you have to be for the other, because that's the way that it works.
Right, right. And I am, conservative, so I do lean towards the justification side. So
So
even with like when Cynthia G says that black men hold up patriarchy the most by looking at white men as the savior or as the leader, they look for white men. They uphold white men more than black men. Then I can see why that's possible.
right, but then do you okay, but then you also so you're okay with white people being racist towards you or upholding racist ideologies or racist systems and political agendas? Like, you're okay with that?
Me, me personally,
Or
I
you
don't
can
see it that way. I just see it as a form of, it's kind of like nepotism, but I call it more so a familiarism because they're familiar with their type of group. And
right, but so we're talking semantics, that you describe it, or that you have a different, different verbiage to describe an action or to characterize something. A, it doesn't make it so, and B, it doesn't take anything away from the fact that it is still foundationally discriminatory and racist in, like, fundamentally in nature.
right, right, right.
Like, not
I
all
think
white people, they're like I don't think nepotism would be the right word. That sounds like you sound like a plea copping bandit right now. Don't cop pleas for white people. It's not nepotism. It's one group, you know,
it's more like a
with
familiarity.
it. Right, but even if it is a familiarity, they are motivated by their desire to have an underclass, and to be superior to that underclass. Like, nobody wants to be the underclass, right? In order for capitalism to work, you have to have an underclass, perpetual underclass, and in order for people who are empowered to maintain their power, they have to impose systemically, politically, legislatively. They have to impose a sort of uneven playing field in some ways. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's the system. I think the system can be better, can do better, but I think that the way that Black men engage with the system is the reason why. It's not advantageous for them. I think that Black men are generally stupid, and that's why they don't know how to engage with the system or have any political sort of they're not politically savvy. But at the end of the day, if you're saying it's okay for men to be misogynistic because men's knowledge came before women's knowledge because of patriarchy, then at the end of the day, what I'm getting from this conversation is it's okay for white people to be racist towards Black people. It sounds like you're saying racist is going to racist.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I wanted to clarify, because you used me specifically. The reason I listened to Themis and not my therapist, the reason I called it misogyny and not familiarity is because I didn't know who Themis was. And it was specifically, when I'm thinking of misogyny, I'm thinking of an ingrained prejudice against women. If you listen to that portion, what me and Annalicia were talking about was kind of what it's like when a boy is raised up in a society that doesn't really value women for their word. That's what I believe was the ingrained prejudice. So that's specifically why I referred to it as misogyny.
Right, right, right. And I now I see that it has hurt us, but now that women are speaking up more, we see where we have went wrong, and now we're trying to change it. You know what I mean? Like I was raised by a single mother, and she taught me a lot. And I'm not like out here engaging in misogynistic activity. You know what I mean? So I could see the benefits of a matriarch, you know?
Well, you understand how you benefited from a matriarch. But I just want to understand this because I need to have hope. I need
But
to
when
have
it
hope.
comes to when it comes to racism, that's a whole different subject that I don't think would be appropriate for this setting. Because the things
So
that you say, I fundamentally disagree with as a whole.
what did I say that you disagree with?
Like like capitalists, they just want a people to be
No,
oppressed under.
I didn't say
They
I
have
didn't
to
say capital.
have
I said
people.
capitalism as a system, it is predicated. It does require a class
Nah,
system.
see, that's where I
And
don't
one
disagree with.
part of that class system means someone has to be in the underclass. That's what I said.
Well, they have fundamentally, I could see it as if a student, trying to I would say that they need students to learn where they can benefit from that relationship, but ultimately they want that student to be um equal, if not better. You know what I
Wait,
mean?
what?
Yeah,
Like,
Who's
can you
the student?
clarify?
Is this an analogy? Is this
no,
Eddie? Do you
no, no,
want to
no.
take it?
If you think of a capitalist, right? They have they teach classes on what they do. That's a part of capitalism. But
Okay.
that doesn't mean that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, finish. Go ahead.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that they always need the person that's paying for the classes to be under them, because there will
That's
always
not what
be.
that's not what I said. That's not. I'm sorry that that's like that's the maybe that's the implication of what I said. That's not what that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about you're personalizing it, and you're talking about people who are participating in capitalism or who
Right.
benefit from capitalism, and I'm talking about capitalism itself as a structure. So there's a delineation. Like we're not talking about the same things. I'm
Okay,
talking about
so
capitalism and in terms of functionality, and you're talking about it in terms of maybe practicality. And even if you are talking about it practically or in practicality, I wouldn't even say that you're correct, because again, if a true capitalist understands that in order for him to continue acquiring wealth, in order for him to maintain his position as a high earning capitalist, there needs to be people socioeconomically beneath him. Otherwise, like everyone can't be rich. Everyone can't be the boss. Everyone can't be the chief. And that's what capitalism is sort of predicated on. So even in your example, I feel like it's flawed, but let's move on from there, because I really want to understand whether or not you feel that misogyny, it sounds like you're saying misogyny and patriarchy are okay and mostly advantageous, because objectively the knowledge of men came before women. Is that it's like fair to say that that's what you think?
No, before I came on, I didn't understand how it hurt us at all. Hurt us at all, but you helped me understand that um
Yeah,
that's
the
one of the ways
emotional.
that we're hurting is that
Yeah.
right. So, but I would just give you an example of why Petty would look for demons and rather than his therapist, but he said that that's not true as well. So no
Isn't
points were made.
isn't I mean, wouldn't that be a part of it though? The idea that I can say something like, "Oh, I had some internalized misogyny here. It was a woman whose word I didn't value, even though she had all the credentials and probably even more than she needed to tell me what she was telling me." And your immediate jump in, no, it's not that. It's just it was something else. It was Themis is just more fun. Like to come in and kind of dismiss that, even though it was my personal experience, like maybe in a general conversation, but when it's my personal experience and I'm saying this is inherently prejudice against women, and you come in to kind of remove that to make it something other than misogyny when I very clearly define it as that.
You're
Well,
you're a bad
well,
you're a bad public defender. You're not a good public defender. I'm sorry,
Oh, my bad.
Paul.
I'm on your side, Paul. Paul, you were completely right. I apologize. No pushback. My bad.
no. Not because I said that, because inherently we think that if women learned their, but never mind. You're right, Petty. You're right. You're right. I completely disregarded it. No, for sure, for sure. But now I was just giving
I
my
love.
opinion.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was done. I was just giving my opinion. No points were made on my end, and I learned something for sure.
Yeah,
But
it's
what I
that
will
for
say,
me.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
What I
go ahead.
wanted
Go
to
ahead.
say was that um that with women expressing themselves more, it definitely helps men, especially know how to treat them, especially with the dating numbers that we have now. Like the kids are not really dating like that, and it's primarily because they don't know how to cope with their emotions, and I suffer from that. But nah, this
I think that men understanding themselves emotionally and psychologically, um, and therefore being able to understand something so that they can express it. I think that that is more important and probably more that's probably going to render better outcomes in relationships in general. I think women have, because again, this is, patriarchy has socialized men and women in very distinct ways. And women have been socialized and sort of conditioned to really lean into their emotional capacity and their emotional output, whereas men have been socialized. There's sort of an inverse relationship with men and their emotional capacity and what they should or are not able to express. um, I think that if men, first of all, you have to understand who you are, understand your identity, have a strong sense of self, understand your emotional sort of bandwidth, um, understand the language, and then learn to express it. And I think that men in general would have better relationships, not just with women, but with other men, with friends, and with family members. Um, but I think it's interesting that he didn't give Petty any pushback, but he gave me pushback because I'm a woman, I'm a lady, so me know
nah.
nothing. Man teach me first, man
I
tell me
didn't.
first, and then me learn, and then me tell Paul. So
No,
no, I'm kidding, Paul, I'm playing with you.
because with like conservative, I mean, with like politically, that's a whole different thing that I would probably disagree with Petty as well. But with this patriarchy, I'm not that well versed in, so I can't really push back on that. But I also will say that with this patriarchy system that we're living in now, I think like including like more emotional and the love and the empathy, it would kind of harm you in the professional setting like especially if you're in a cutthroat industry. So I don't
Well,
know. I don't know if we are in a good position to, you know, be more empathetic in the work environment.
So there was a study from Yale. I think even that I think is based in misogyny, since emotion tends to be something that's more ascribed with women, as opposed to, like you said, that cutthroat, aggressive male nature thing that people tend to apply to men. There was a study from Yale, I think of around 15,000 people. I'm not sure how large the study was, but it had to do with showing emotional intelligence in the workplace. And emotionally intelligent bosses made for happier, more creative, and more productive employees. So even the idea that these are simply skills that if you took to the workplace, it would be bad for the job, it would be bad for productivity, it would be bad for the environment. Even something like that, I think, has been debunked. Um, and if you, even outside of the research, if you've ever worked under a boss who you don't particularly enjoy, um, I don't know. I mean, this is anecdotal, of course. So this is just my experience, but I'm not like the amount of effort that I give for a boss who I feel like is accommodating, who I feel like is able to hold space at the workplace, and who isn't cutthroat and looking at me as like a cog in the machine. I think surprisingly, I'm going to give more effort to the person who's less cutthroat. Well, not surprisingly to me, but I think surprisingly to most people, I would give more effort to the person who's not pushing me as hard. Um, so even something like that, I
and
disagree
also,
with.
Okay, I
and
get
also,
it,
I think
girl.
it's, I think it's interesting. And a lot of men do this. They think that there are like two sort of two speeds. Is like breaking down crying and having empathy and sitting down and oh kumbaya and just crying you're a mess. And then the other speed is just you're either shut down or it's just rage and anger. And the reality is that our feelings are, men and women alike, our feelings are more complex and dynamic than that. There's no they're not binary, they're not singular, they're not, that's just not the way our brains literally structurally work. So the thing with emotion and the thing with your amygdala and the different parts of your brain that controls emotion, it's a muscle, right? Your brain is a use dependent organ. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So the longer you spend your life flexing those really integral and imperative parts of the brain, the better you'll know how to use them in different settings. You'll be able to employ them in the workplace appropriately. You'll be able to employ them in interpersonal and romantic relationships appropriately. You'll be able to employ them in familial and parent-child relationships appropriately. So that's kind of the way that empathy would work in that sort of capacity, right? Like you can have empathy for your your employees, because because they're human, right? You want them, if they're doing well, they're going to produce, and if they're producing, it's more money at the end of the day, more
You're
money in your
one minute
pocket.
is.
But yeah, I'm done. I'm good. I thought it was interesting that black men not only continue to engage in patriarchy and misogyny, and they kind of, it's kind of like a way of life. It's just a part of their being. I think it's interesting. But this guy's conservative. So I think you should jump on the panel next weekend, because I'd love to have a conversation with you about how you hold sort of incongruent, like fundamentally incongruent ideologies with your racial identity. I just think it's interesting, and I'd like to pick your brain about it a little bit, because I don't understand Black conservatives, and you know me, I want to understand. I want to overstand. That's me. I want to know where you live, why you're conservative, like the whole nine. So
Right. Nah, and to both of y'all's point, I understand the pros definitely outweigh the cons on the patriarchy in the work. The matriarchy. I mean what I'm trying. The empathy in the workplace. Pros outweigh
The
the cons.
humanity. Just call it humanity.
Okay,
Humanity. It's
humanity. All
humanity.
right. Yeah,
Thank you. There
10+.
you go.
Your 1 minute has ended, by the way, but
Yes,
thank you
sir.
for coming up.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, Paul. Thank you for coming up. Shout out to you. Come back next weekend because why are you conservative? You're a black man. Why?
Okay. Well, while y'all were
Somebody
talking
tell
about
me
that,
why.
I got called into work and we got 2 super chats. Curry Up and Eat says, "You don't have the bandwidth," said by Themis on a dusty New York City day. First of all, New
Curry up
York
and eat.
City,
I love you and thank you. Where have you been?
New
Where
York City.
have you been on my street? Sorry, this is me having fun with the microphone. Okay.
People get a new
Now, like, I'm
microphone,
sorry.
start acting different. People buy a new microphone, get feminine, fit, friendly. People just, I don't understand it. But thank you for the
I'm brand
super.
new.
It is
Thank you,
dusty
Curry
in
up
New
and
York
eat.
City. I did appreciate that he said, "Well, I'm not very versed in that topic, so we
Yeah.
can." I don't think we're gonna push the needle today.
We
So.
don't have to be. Listen. We don't have to be mean. Like listen. I like Anna. Shout out to Curry Up and Eat. I like Anna with the mic and keeping it cool. Boo. You know me. I'm acting brand new. Bad, bougie, feminine, friendly. Apparently. I'm proud. This is what a mic can do. This is what a mic. I want you guys to imagine how happy I'm gonna be when I start streaming from my dining room and my plant. Like I'm just gonna be walking by the screen, dancing. I'm really going to be in my element. So wait for it.
Well, I am now scheduled to be at work in exactly 9 minutes. So we can wrap up here. I do see someone behind the scenes, but that 1 minute I gave, huh?
Is it if it's Hood Mystic, I kind of want you to bring him up.
Well, you should have thought about that before y'all went on for 25 minutes. I definitely gave y'all 1 minute, and now I have to go to work. So there's a cleanup on aisle 3.
There's a cleanup on aisle 3. And Petty is Hercules. It's that laugh.
But Hood can definitely come back next weekend, Saturday at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, so we can talk about the patriarchy.
Hit the like button, you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for riding out with us. And I don't give advice, but if I did, I would tell you to get you a mic. Get you a mic, and it's going to solve all of your temperamental problems. So I don't give advice, but I don't know the audio.
All right.
I don't give advice, but Audio Technica. Shout out to them. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for the super chats. Hit the like. We love you. Good night.
Yep, make sure to hit the like. I just want to send a quick shout out to all of my Canada and New York City and New Jersey people. I'll breathe enough for all of us, so y'all don't have to. Everybody have a good day.